Afternoon soldiers, or evening. Today I'm going to talk to you about something pretty useful in the world of men and in this modern age is a mindset or type of skill we can use to deal with the daily grind and the average daily occurrences that we go through. So this video is going to be all about mastering your emotional state. Emotions play a big role in how we think, react, and understand what the world around us. Pretty common knowledge. But it can often be the blockage for many different things. It can be the blockage for us to find peace. It can be the blockage to reconcile, mend relations with people. And it can also be the blocker to achieving our full potential. And part of my personal growth and development is trying to understand my own emotional state. And I'm no way an expert on this. I'm just another student. I have a long way to go in dealing with my anger and my intense emotions, because me as an example, I'm not a very usually an emotional guy, but when my emotions do come up, they tend to be strong and intense. For very intense circumstances is when they arise. But uh, mastering your emotional state is a very important thing that a lot of men need to use and utilize to move ahead in life. So, in order to master your emotional state, you need to use aspects and concepts from a lot of different sides of the social spectrum. So, there are good teachings from these two sides, and I'm sure you've heard them: the red pill improvement, self improvement side, or the blue pill liberal side. Now, both of these have two very strong but also very useful ideas that I think if you put them together is something that can be very useful to you and could help us master our emotional state. So, the red pill has the concept of stoicism, and stoicism, from my interpretation of it, is not is being, for the most part or almost all the time, logical and rational. You utilizing rational thought and logical, methodical thinking ahead of emotion, and sort of leaving your emotions last. Basically, just being unbothered by everything and not letting emotions come between you and your goals. That is stoicism. It's almost like an ignorance of emotion. There's that. And you also have the other side with the blue pill, which is being emotional, letting your emotions out and experiencing them and understanding them. But when you delve into the blue pill emotional side too much, you tend to become emotional and very how am I going to say this without sounding rude? You become ineffective as a man when you become ruled by your emotion, because you're not able to really reach deep into that potential you have. Because emotions will always lead to comfort. When you experience something really strong like fear or anger, you will always go running to comfort, moving away from whatever's causing you those intense emotions. Excuse me. So you become emotional if you give into the blue side too much, but if you give into the red side, the stoicism, too much, you become cold and unaffected and emotionless. And I was this for a solid year or more, like because of the um, traumas that I left, um, that I had left unchecked and without any result. Sorry, I'm a bit all over the place there. Unchecked and without any consolation, I became cold and emotionless. I became a stone of a man. Like no one could get through to me. And I was solely dedicated to just releasing and ignoring whatever pain I had. So you need to remove the unhealthy indulgence part of these and combine the two healthy aspects that can help you master your emotions. So on the one hand, the stoicism part is useful for not allowing people to get to you. It's when those like quick, instant emotions come in, those instant messages come into your brain, such as um, immediate anger or fear for a situation. And in order to get your stoicism, your rational thinking side of your brain to kick in, I recommend deep breathing. And I know this sounds very, what's the word? Very, it doesn't sound useful. It doesn't sound like something you should use in a situation like that. And some people might call you weird, like why are you just breathing like that? But deep breathing, I'm telling you, will help you get out of situations that are better avoided, like getting into fights. Now, that's not to say fighting is completely bad. Fighting should only be used as a last resort. Like if your life is in danger or you need to protect someone whose life is in danger, sure. Like in that situation, self-defense is optimal. But in those situations where someone's just insulted you, or you're confronted with something that is potentially challenging and has a risk, such as maybe a test, like for example, my driving test, which will be happening in a few months, um, or just driving in general, like since I'm new, I've still got that nervousness to me. I find that deep breathing is almost a cheat code to sort of mitigate those feelings, not remove them, mitigate them. So your rational thinking and logical mind can take an effect and sort of puts the emotions to the side. They're not in charge. Your rational brain is in charge. But your emotional stimuli, your emotional response is left to the side. So when you do that, you allow yourself to fully reach into your potential and sort of, in a way, as if someone's just asked you a question about, okay, how would you do this? And you explain to them logically and rationally how you would complete that. So instead of doing it in the moment kind of performance, you use that sort of rational thinking that you would if you were answering a question about how you would do something. So you put that into practice. But in doing so, it is also important to recognize your emotions. Do not ignore them. Ignoring your emotions turns you into a stone, and stones sink. You won't do well as a stone. It's very important to understand your emotions. If you're feeling anger, it's important to take a deep breath, understand what the stimuli is, understand what the response is, and normally the space between stimuli and response is very small for many people. Those of us who have done work, it's a bit further. And those of us who are really well practiced would be a lot further. But for the average person who hasn't really delved into their emotions and how to manage them, have not had any anger management training, their response is here, close together, instant, happens straight away. The stimuli and the response, the emotion, the amount of thinking is very minimal. So deep breathing is a cheat code to sort of push that sort of space, this critical thinking space, so you're allowed to understand the emotion, understand the stimuli, and then use your logical thinking, your rational brain, your your left side of the brain, so to speak, to understand what's happening and construct a logical and detailed plan to deal with it. Remember any knowledge, remember any tips and context, and sort of think up of a plan to deal with it. Because as humans, we can be very methodical and logical with how we handle things. It's mainly depending on the person. So when you combine stoicism, not letting the stimuli affect you as much, and having that breathing room to sort of understand what's really going on, and also the knowledge to understand and experience your emotions as to not remove them, you become this mindful and calm person that is tactically superior to others in that situation. You have that superior mindset and knowledge, and you have the ability to take charge of a situation and come out the other side without struggling or having lasting consequences such as conflict or other issues, or maybe like you become nervous and jittery. It's not, see, coffee break. um it's not really, it's that thing, it's this quote I've heard, I don't know where it's from, but it states that courage is not is not having fear, it's having fear but still doing the thing regardless. So it includes that aspect of stoicism in which not letting that emotional stimuli affect you, but it's you've also got that important emotional understanding to know, like, yes, I have those emotions, I'm experiencing them, but I'm dealing with them as well. So when you combine these two sides of the red and blue pill, the purple pill, so to speak, I don't know, when you combine these two aspects, you create something which you're able to think rationally but also understand your emotions. And that is the key to mastering your emotions. Basically, just breathing and then using rational thought to understand really what's happening here and how am I going to deal with this. And once you do that, you will find yourself to be a lot more calmer and a lot more advanced in situations. You become almost like a samurai in flow state. Like your brain will just start thinking of methods and ideas, and you have that breathing room where you don't instantly react and rely on your monkey brain. Monkey brain says, this person said something mean to me, I'm gonna smack them. I had that mentality. But when you can have that rational thought, that breathing room, take those deep breaths. It doesn't matter what anyone says. It doesn't matter, oh, he's angry. It doesn't matter. None of that matters. In that moment, it doesn't matter what the other person is saying or doing. What really matters is you understanding your emotional state, taking that second to breathe, and then mastering yourself. Understanding what's really going on in the given situation and using the tools to completely do a 180. Sorry, do a full 360 and come back, turning that situation to your advantage, and also turning the argument, conflict, whatever, to your advantage, and not letting the person have the upper hand over you. And sometimes that means walking away. And you can be called a bitch or a pussy, that's fine. But at the end of the day, you came out the bigger person, you had the emotional growth, and you had the sense not to escalate things with a complete fucking idiot. I see that as a win. Not getting into a fist fight, not getting into an altercation, or not giving into your fear, I think is a massive W. You've won the situation. And you can pat yourself on the back thinking, you know what, I handled that well. And that'll give you the experience and the knowledge to handle future situations. And if you can put this into practice, I'm proud of you because you're doing something that I'm not able to do yet. And I'm having this knowledge and this self work. And I've had situations recently where I've had to deal with stimuli such as this, people and people saying things or talking in a way that is insulting me, or speaking directly to me, or speaking to someone else as a way to insult me. And I've had the emotional state of mind to stop, breathe, and reevaluate. And doing that doesn't make you any less of a man. I think it makes you more of a man if you can stop, think, reevaluate, and conquer. Because at the end of the day, the man who will succeed is one who is also calm and disciplined.